Hello everyone. On the 9th of August, I had 111 subscribers and 40 of them came from Linda T70's mention on her channel. So I was really struggling. But today I have 4,644 and today is the 22nd of January 2025. If that's of interest to you and how I had to change and what I did, then stick around. I started my channel on the 31st of May 2024. Just over 9 weeks later, I had risen to the stellar amount of 111 subscribers, and believe me, every single one of those was hard won. In fact, I got 40 from a mention on Linda T70's channel, 40 subscribers at that point when I only had 40 subscribers. So she managed to double my subscribers by mentioning me on her channel, and that is why I'm so keen on mentioning other channels. That said, I continued to put out my videos, not at a regular schedule, but as and when I did them, generally 1 or 2 a week, and my channel grew very slowly. Every morning I would look, and sometimes it would go up, and sometimes it would go down. In fact, a lot of times it would go down. It would go down, and I'd think, what on earth am I doing wrong? People just don't like me. Eventually, I do watch a lot of YouTubers, and I watch a lot of YouTubers of around my age group to see what they're doing. I had watched a video of somebody decluttering, and I am, now this is a confession, I was. I'm not quite so much these days, but I was a habitual purchaser of stuff. I had so many fantasy selves that I catered for and I nurtured, except they were just fantasy selves and they never came to anything. One of these fantasy selves was that I had imagined myself a sewer. Goodness knows why, but obviously I had to have all the equipment to enable me to do all of this stuff, and I would purchase, and I'd purchase loads and loads of fabric, especially when I went to America on holiday with my darling boy and visited Joanne's deadly place. So I'd come out of there with tons of fabric and I'd stuff them all into my suitcase and be overladen. And then I'd get home and I'd wrap it all and I'd make a display of it on my shelves so that it looked nice. And then I did nothing with it. And this fabric today is now, I suppose 12 years old. 12 years old and sat there covered up by fabric so it doesn't get messy. Still beautiful, still in the original wrapping and unused. And then I thought, Imogen, you're getting older and nobody is going to watch your stuff. And if something were to happen to me, then it would be down to my darling boy to go up in that room and try to sort it, which would be terrible. I decided that I would do a declutter. I would start the process in my entire house and I would declutter it, and then I could make a video of it. Because frankly, when you're a YouTube creator, well, I do anyway, and I know some people do, we struggle to think about things that you might find entertaining. It is, I'm not an endless brain of amazing stuff to tell you. I'm really not. But I thought, well, they seem to be popular videos. I will declutter that room because it frankly really needs to. And it was becoming a depressing room to go into because I felt so guilty. I did that video and it's called Do This, Decluttering 38 plus years of stuff. And, it has been my habit of a lifetime. I went up there and I decluttered it, and I decluttered the little loft room next door to it. I've videoed it. It wasn't the best video. It wasn't great in comparison to some of these professional decluttering channels. They seem to have cameras everywhere, every angle, and they're so good at it. But I tried and I uploaded it. And when I did it, I thought, I don't know, I think it's going to be okay. We'll see what happens. That video has gained my channel 455 new subscribers, which was an absolute ride when it started to happen. I was so excited that I thought I'd do another one and have the same results, but no. I went down the route of doing these videos talking to the camera. And because I have a job articulating my thoughts, I used a teleprompter. And I found that, albeit I rehearsed it all, talking to a camera with a teleprompter made me wooden. But I didn't realise that at the time, so I carried on in that vein, and the views on those videos would be around the 200 mark, 300 mark if I were lucky. Well, fast forward. How to get rid of 38 plus years of stuff gained me over 17,000 views to date. So that was good. However, the videos that I made next, they got views, but they didn't get many. And I wondered where I was going wrong. And then people started to unsubscribe. And when you're a tiny channel, actually when you're a channel, period, you worry, especially if you feel a little insecure. And I did worry. And for a period of time, I got really down in the dumps and miserable. And I didn't want to make a video. I didn't want to do anything really. But then I decided that I would try to be a highly productive person. Now, if you're a person like me and possibly have ADHD, I prefer the term quirky. If you are like that, then sticking to a task can be extremely difficult. Your mind wanders here, there, and everywhere. So I thought trying to be a highly productive person at 68 would be a challenge. 2 weeks before I did my video, I put several things in motion. And I made myself a routine, which I would do, and it started to pay off. And also, while we're at it, I found out about something called methylene blue from Chase Hughes's channel. And I started taking it. And goodness knows, that really gave me a kick up the bum because it has improved my cognition and my memory so much that I am remembering random things from absolutely years ago. So it's definitely working. So that said, I digress. I started doing all of these habits, like doing a 5-minute tidy up first thing in the morning, especially of my dining table. It seems to be the clutter area of my entire kitchen. Everything goes on there, all of my stuff for YouTube, all of my research. And if it's not there, it's the kitchen counter directly behind it where I put all of my to-do lists. I would have this 5-minute timed 5-minute tidy up. Well, I filmed all of that. And I made this video of how I became highly productive at 68. And believe me, I am a lot more productive now. I mean, I'm still a work in progress. I don't care what you say. Everybody is a work in progress. We don't stay still. We just, keep on keeping on. So I put out that video and goodness, things changed. That video has had to date almost 70,000 views, which is, it's phenomenal, totally unexpected, but joyous. I can't understand why it's so popular, but it just shows me that people of our age, I'm obviously 68, people of our age are looking to be more productive. It's very easy when things are going wrong with your health, things are going wrong with your body, you're not feeling quite so vital as you used to. You want to feel more vital. And I'm not saying, well, we're all going to go and do star jumps in the living room or anything like that, because that's not for all of us. And frankly, right now, I've really done something to my Achilles tendon and I can't exercise. I can barely walk. So, we're not all able to do the things that we would have done in our 50s or 40s or even younger. We're just sometimes not. And we have to listen to our body and look after it. But it doesn't stop you from being productive in other ways. Even if it is just, learning Canva while sitting watching the telly and then uploading it to Redbubble, all that sort of stuff. We don't stand still, people of our age. We've got brains and we are more than capable of using them, even if it is at a slower pace. We don't want to be gabbled at. We don't want to try to listen to somebody who's speaking 90 to the dozen and we have to slow their video down so we can actually see what they are doing when we're learning something. It's very irritating to see somebody's mouse whizzing across the screen and you think you want to say to them, hang on, I didn't see that. Right now I'm learning how to do print on demand. And that's great because I can do two things at once because I'm that clever. That's my brain these days. I want to do one thing, but I don't want to concentrate on it fully. I want to do something else at the same time, like watch television and learn Canva. So I digressed. I carried on growing from that video, and that was an absolute godsend to me. And it reinvigorated me, and it reinvigorated my channel. I must be doing something right. Because at the time, before then, I thought, I don't know what's happening. I don't want to do it anymore. But I have a reason to want to do this. And it's not to put money in my own pocket, because I don't. It is for something else. So that was my big why I wanted to carry on, why I felt I wouldn't give up. When you're a creator, you are constantly looking for things to do on your own channel. Often people would say, well, they would comment, we would like to learn more about you. Now, when I used to read those comments, I would think to myself, good Lord, if you only knew, if you only knew my life up until I was found by my darling boy, you would be shocked. And I didn't feel brave enough to share that. It's funny, when you've been married 4 times, yes, 4 times, there is a certain amount of shame that comes with that on my part, that I wasn't good enough to stay married. I wasn't clever enough. But actually, when I started to eventually articulate what had gone on in my life right from the beginning, right from when I was a small child living with my mother, who was schizophrenic, and then went to boarding school, etc. All of that, my first marriage, the abuse, the coercive control, all of that. I thought, well, it's not surprising you have been married 4 times, because the first 3 times you were repeating the same mistakes over and over. The definition of insanity is to keep on doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And clearly I was bona fide insane. But making that series really changed things again. People were interested. Now, the worries that I had about sharing all that information about myself were allayed somewhat by anonymizing the people that I was talking about. I mean, if they watch these videos, they would absolutely know who they are, who I'm talking about, but nobody else does. Nobody. That felt better. And they have kickstarted my channel off again. The other thing that I did, I made a series out of those videos. There are 9 videos in that series of my life, and they are there for posterity. When my children want to learn things about their mother, then they can go onto YouTube and watch them. Now, you can't put everything on YouTube because a video would be far too long. People don't want to know the ins and outs of everything, but a broad picture of the relationship will suffice. And that's what I did. Those 9 videos have changed my channel even more. It's made me far more brave in sharing. I still have to sit in front of the camera at my desk in my study and breathe deeply and close my eyes and try to relax, because I am still finding this whole thing incredibly stressful. I am a person that doesn't speak quickly, and I know a lot of people find that very irritating, and they aren't slow in coming forward to tell me either. But equally, a lot of people find it relaxing, so that gives me a little bit of confidence. A couple of months ago, I decided that I was no longer going to have certain things on my channel. I was no longer going to have the little beginning screen, the little start screen that I had. It was about 6 seconds, and I think it was 6 seconds too long, actually, with a little bit of bark to go with it. It was still too long. And it stopped people from looking at what I was saying and thinking, well, shall I stick around for this? Yes or no? And often no. And then they would scroll on. So I watched a video by Virginia Kerr, who said that if you don't grab somebody's attention in the first 30 seconds, then you've lost them. I mean, you've literally lost them. And the first 30 seconds of your video needs to go to explaining what your viewer is going to see and how it's going to benefit them. That's what people come to YouTube for. Now, it might be that they just enjoy your company, but in that first 30 seconds, they're not going to know if they've just swiped by because you haven't grabbed their attention. It's only later on in the video that they'll see, oh, she's a nice person, or she's funny, or whatever. that's when you will be able to add some value. But if you're missing out on grabbing their attention in that first 30-second hook, because that's what it's called, then you have lost them and they're never going to subscribe. The other thing that I stopped doing, and I was as guilty as everybody else. The thing is, when you start a YouTube channel, you think that you have to have everything in place. You have to have this, you have to have that. I had to have a banner. I was trying to find somebody to make me one. In the end, I found out via YouTube how to make one, and I was really chuffed with myself. So I made that, and I made the start screen. Now I've deleted that. And I made an end screen. Now the end screen is very important because once you have got your viewer, and if they've stuck around to the end, which would be amazing, then you want to keep them on your channel. You want them to stay with you a while and see what else do you have to offer. So you need an end screen, and in that end screen, even if you don't make one that looks pretty or whatever, you have it at the very end of your video. And by doing that, there will be a little subscribe button. There'll be 2 or 1 video or even 3 videos that you can promote on that end screen that people can click onto and stay with you, which does help. Otherwise, you're missing the opportunity to invite them to stay. It's like saying, well, would you like another cup of tea? Would you like a biscuit? You wouldn't want to do that. Say, oh, well, here's your cup of tea now, go. It's not terribly friendly. Or you just take their cup away, which is actually what you're doing. You're just taking that person's cup away. Unless, of course, they go into your channel and find the rest of your videos, which I did with Linda T's 70s channel when I first found her. I went through every single one of her videos, and I did it also with Tracy in the Wild West. Wild spelled W-Y-L-D-E, not like the Wild West. And I have watched every single one of her videos and commented. If you miss that opportunity and you take their cup away and they leave, then you really have missed that opportunity. I stopped asking for people to subscribe. I stopped it because I would watch channels who would spend a long time, well, it seems like a long time, explaining why people should subscribe and why if they don't, their channel won't grow and they can't do things for them. Of course they can do things for them. It costs you nothing to make a video except your time, and goodness knows it takes me absolutely hours to edit a video, probably because I am an arse so much and I have to remove the ball. Otherwise that would drive you crazy. So, and I say so that'll have to be edited out. I stopped asking for subscribers, and once I did that, somehow they started to grow even more, which was amazing and surprising, to be honest. It was surprising. I did think that just nobody would subscribe in the future, but I stopped because that was asking them to do something for me, actually not for them. They don't worry if people aren't subscribing. My channel will still be here. I'll still be plodding away. But I wasn't giving anything to them apart from now I'm giving them the opportunity to either subscribe or unsubscribe or whatever, because I'm not mentioning it. The other thing I have constantly done since having this channel is try to learn something new every week. Now, at the moment, it's print on demand so that I can share it with you. Or I am still in the process of learning Descript, which for a YouTube creator is great. With Descript, now you do have to pay for it. You upload your video into Descript and it transcribes the entire video for you, so you've got accurate subtitles. That's a bit important, especially for deaf people. I upload it into there. It enables you to take out all the filler words like so, like all those, and like. Well, I don't use like. I think that's a young person's thing, but I do use so. And I listen to myself and I think, goodness gracious, that's irritating. I whip those out. And yesterday I used the facility to cut down the word gaps, and that did make it a little different and faster, which for a lot of people that view this channel, they will be glad of, because they do get irritated by that. Having done that, I think, well, that's good. I want to learn more about this. So I've been on to Descript Mastery. And that young man there is very good at teaching. Plus, if you have a problem and you comment on his channel, he will answer you and give you a solution. I mean, that's very good. That is very good. I am doing that, and I want to be able to interview fellow YouTubers on it. And I know you can do that. You can have screen by screen. I know I did it with Jo, but she used StreamYard, I think it was called. But I want to do it in Descript because it will give me all the subtitles, etc. I will have something accurate to offer people that are hard of hearing, or people who want to watch quietly whilst they watch television and they just want to read what we're saying. What I'm saying is that once you get your YouTube channel, that is not the end of your learning. That's just the beginning. When you have a YouTube channel, improve it for your viewers every week, just by a little, just by a tiny little bit. Even if it's making your thumbnails better or adding tags to your videos so people can find them, and making sure that your file name that you upload gives an accurate description of the video you're showing. And also, apparently, according to, I think it was Virginia Kerr, not to use too many words in your thumbnail. They have to be clear, between 4 and 6 at most. And since doing that, I have started doing 4 or 6 words at most, if I can at all. In fact, if I can't, then I faff around with it for ages, thinking, what can I do? I've also learned how to do things on ChatGPT. That's very good for finding tags for a video. And I don't care what people say. If those tags weren't useful, then YouTube wouldn't have put them in, would they? Or the opportunity to use them. I mean, YouTube is a great big search engine. You need to think of a search engine when you're making up your title for your video. What would people search for? And if you have been, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.